go off camera. I'm not gonna be in your way. And
Understood.
Paul, you wanna go first?
Sure. Charlotte, thank you for having us. ACRC, thank you for putting it together and ensuring a full house. Friends, family, and everyone here with an open mind. I appreciate you coming out. A special thanks to my mother's here, my wife is here, my daughter's here, so you want to talk about pressure? This is it. Let's see if we can turn this lump of coal into a diamond. With regards to my daughter, I want to take a moment to acknowledge that it's very rare to see someone so young have confidence and discipline. It's a rare combination, and it's a special thing. So I promise not to embarrass you tonight, at least more than once. I'll cut right to the chase. Back before the turn of the century, I was at a family picnic, and I was arguing with my sister about something trivial. I think it was a Y2K or something, I don't know. And we were going back and forth, and I had an aunt there. She's more of a cousin than an aunt, and she's kind of the family guru, Cousin Connie. And she looked at us and she said, "Would you rather be right or would you rather be happy?" And my sister very quickly said, "I'd rather be happy." And she gave me a smile and she walked away. And now that question for me, it really stumped the hell out of me, okay? And I looked at my aunt and I said, "Well, how can you be happy if you're not right?" And she looked at me and she said, "Paul, you need to go to law school." Okay. And 25 years later, here we are. I've been a practicing attorney ever since. And I can tell you, every time I walk into a courtroom, for a split second, the hair on the back of my neck stands up and I catch my breath. Because I realize that it might be the last time. There are no guarantees in this life. And it's a privilege. Anytime to be part of that system of justice where we resolve our disputes peaceably, and we're interested in impartiality and the truth. We all hit the lottery. Whether we know it or not, being born into this country is the equivalent of getting the winning ticket. It's been an honor to be part of that system, to be what I think of myself as a happy warrior. It's an adversarial setting, of course, but it's a beautiful thing. The job of judge is different. It's different but the same. And if it's been incredibly flattering to even be considered for it, if I'm being honest, to be endorsed by local law enforcement, to have support of colleagues and friends has been a deep honor. And I pledge to you that if I'm selected for that position, it will get every fiber of my being. And I thank you for your time. I look forward to your questions, and thanks again for coming.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul.
So, good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here and taking some time on a rainy day to be here and enjoy this forum. I think we're going to learn a lot about a lot of people. And you know, people don't forget about these. We talk about the big elections, right? But every election matters, right? These elections, whether it's sheriff, your local school board races, your local county commissioner races, these elections also matter. So you guys being out here tonight is exciting to learn from us, the candidates, talk a little bit about ourselves and give our pitch to you as to why we're the right folks. I know you guys know, a lot of you guys know me from my political background, so I'm gonna spend my time talking to you about myself as an attorney. So I grew up in Southern York County, and when I was in school at Spring Grove, I know I'm a little bit of a transplant. It was a Hanover kid, but when I grew up in school, I had a love for politics. And I loved government, really, before I loved politics. And, you know, in high school, I realized that, you know, I wanted to go to school to study government. And went to school outside DC at George Mason and realized that, like most of us, I want to start a family and didn't want to live in DC. So politics took a back burner, and law school was the right thing for me. I was a first generation college student, let alone a first generation law student. And it was always something that was kind of there that I wanted to do, but I always had this deep desire to serve my community. My first foray in that was a junior firefighter. I lived across the street from the fire company, and it kind of got me involved in community service. And from that point on, I've always been publicly driven in everything I do. So the law just made sense. Serving my community, upholding the law, and being able to represent folks in a variety of issues and giving them their day in court seemed like a very natural thing for me to go into. So I went to school, moved back home here to South Central Pennsylvania, here in Adams County in New Oxford, and I've been raising my family here ever since. I started my practice in Hanover, learning all types of law, from family law to estates, to small business, to construction litigation, all kinds of things that I was exposed to as a young attorney. That kind of knowledge and again, being community involved and being in the chamber and different organizations in Hanover and in Adams County, I got approached to run for public office a number of years ago when Representative Torren retired. I had always, public office is always was something that I wanted to run for. I honestly thought, and I'll tell you, that someday that I'd run for judge. I thought I would practice law for, 10, 15, 20 years and then serve my community as judge. I got the opportunity, and I'm extremely thankful that people thought, hey, you would be a great representative. And in that role, I got the opportunity to serve my community in a very unique way, and I used my experience as an attorney in taking that to Harrisburg and championing issues to see that side of the equation as well. A lot of the issues I've worked on, whether it's going after Larry Krasner in Philadelphia, talking about working on criminal justice reform, working on our juvenile court system, all these opportunities, I got to work on the other side of the equation in crafting that law. So I think I bring a unique opportunity now as a practicing attorney who has continued to do that while, make no mistake, while I've still been in Harrisburg. I've continued to practice law, albeit in a different fashion, and maybe not every day, but still practicing law, still representing clients, still going to the courthouse, still doing the job. I've got the experience not only on the legislative side, but also as a practicing attorney. So I think because of that, I'm ready to come home and serve Adams County here at home, and I think this is a great opportunity, not only for myself, but also to represent all of Adams County here where I live and where I love to call home. So I'm happy to take questions. I know we're gonna get into some fun stuff. I'm sure all the cards will be very great, and I appreciate the opportunity to go into that. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay.
So you both answered my first question without me even asking. I am extremely impressed because nobody has seen the list of questions that I have. And I do have a list of questions before we get to the card, so whoever has the card, if you want to ask a question, please fill it out, and we'll pass that red bucket throughout to collect the cards, and we'll draw them at random. Question number one, we will, typically it goes in alphabetical order, and you're always first because you're an E, so we'll start. What is your philosophy on recusal, especially in situations in which a lawyer, legislators, former associates, or law partners are to appear before you? No cheating.
To me?
Yes.
No cheating.
Oh.
No cheating.
I'm definitely cheating.
Yeah, you can definitely cheat.
I have the judicial canons with me.
Yeah, that's the view that I was going.
How deep you want me to get. Recusal in Pennsylvania is something that comes up quite a bit, and as you can imagine, we live in a small county, right? We all know each other to some extent. So recusal is something that we have to be ever cognizant of, and it works one of two ways. The judge can recuse themselves. Alternatively, the parties can make a motion for recusal. Be a written motion, it has to be, have an evidentiary hearing and be decided on within 15 days. The big thing about recusal that we have to bear in mind is the standard is one of reasonableness. If it's a conflict that someone would reasonably think would question the judge's impartiality, then dollars to donuts is probably a better idea to get. So I want to say it's a rule of common sense. And Charlotte, I didn't catch the last part of the question. There was a particular aspect to it.
What is your philosophy on recusal, especially in situations in which legislators, former associates or law partners are to appear before you?
Yeah, wow, good question. Legislator, I'm gonna punt to my opponent, he can handle that one. With regards to the former associates or partners, you know, that's a good one in the sense that my impression is one of openness and honesty, okay? If a lawyer, or two lawyers and a judge are sitting around and we all know each other, disclosing that is almost a foregone conclusion. Is it enough to warrant a conflict? Typically, no. It depends on the situation. Now, if there's something else, maybe it's a financial obligation, maybe there's something that would create this impression of impropriety, then you know what, quite frankly, it's not worth it. We can refer it out. That being said, you gotta remember, we live in a small county, we've got 4 judges, right? We can't punt every case we get because of some potential for conflict. We've got a workload that we gotta get ourselves through. Full
Thank
stop.
you. Would you like to add to that question?
Sure, just briefly, sure, you know, look, I think, Attorney Royer really addressed the issue as far as the logistics of it, right? You take it, it's a case-by-case situation, right? And there's a lot of things as attorneys that we're ethically required to follow, but there's also a set of judicial canons that the judges are set to follow that really guides us in those decision-making. Whether, you know, any judge has been a lawyer at some point, has probably someone they've either been an adversary or also someone they work with. So it's not uncommon for these situations to arise. I will talk briefly about the legislative side of things.
30 seconds left.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I forgot, we're on 6 o'clock. So look, I can tell you that I approach things very objectively. I always have, even as a legislator. It's not gonna change as a judge. A lot of the decisions we make aren't these big sweeping political decisions as judges. You know, we're talking about a family court judge likely here, who has got a set of factors that they got to look on the custody cases. There's the law is pretty set. Our job is to work through those issues. If there is a true conflict there or a true issue that needs to be recused, I have no problem doing so.
Okay. Next question, and we will start with Torren. How will you keep your personal opinions from mucking up your rulings?
Yeah, look, this is extremely important. I think in general, not only as a public official, but also more, even especially as a judge, where you are there to make decisions on the facts that are presented to you and apply that to the law. And quite frankly, we all have personal biases and personal opinions on things, and that's who shapes us as people. But at the end of the day, it's about applying the facts to the law. That is what a judge's role is. And I don't see any issue in my ability to do that. I've done it as a legislator, I've done it as an attorney, and I have no problem doing it as a judge.
Thank you. 60 seconds or less?
You know, instinct and intuition are valuable things. I think that we'd be foolish not to rely on them to some extent. The kids call it cognitive bias. It's this idea that when you meet somebody or you get an idea, you make up your mind almost immediately, and then we use our powers of reason and logic to support the decision we've already arrived at. Now, if I'm being perfectly blunt, as an attorney, probably the only thing that makes me a half-competent attorney is the ability to convince myself I'm right. It's the ability to convince myself that my client is in the right. That enables me then to present myself in a fashion to the court that hopefully it's contagious. Well, guess what? That's the exact opposite of what a judge does. As a judge, we have to ignore those instincts. Not ignore, but put aside those instincts. We have to listen to the evidence as it's presented. We have to look at the law as it's written and intended by the legislature and arrive at a conclusion that has nothing to do with our personal bias. It's no easy thing. It's no easy thing. In my sense, it's gonna be the hardest part of the job.
Okay, Paul?
Yeah.
What is your track record with the bread and butter cases here in Adams County? The criminal, civil, family, orphans court, you know, as Adams County does it all?
Golly, that would take an immense amount of research, if I'm being perfectly
Okay.
blunt. I wouldn't even know how to go about that. I currently have cases pending in criminal court, civil court, dependency court, juvenile court, what am I forgetting? Custody court, and support.
Okay.
It's a wide-ranging practice, it always has been, and it keeps you on your toes. In terms of win and losses, in terms of counting coup, that's not really the name of the game,
We
quite
didn't
frankly.
Yeah, the question was, what is your track record? Not like winning a lot. Sorry.
That's okay, I'm trying.
Yeah.
So tell me what you mean by track record, I'll try again.
Just your track record in how many cases, like your caseload, where you have, your cases were at with criminal, civil, and you actually answered
In terms of
that you
breakdown,
have some pending.
historically, I've done quite a bit of criminal defense. Lately, I've been doing more civil. It seems to ebb and flow. And it's a strange thing about the law is that you routinely see issues come up in bunches. Like you won't see something for years, and the next thing you know, you're litigating standing 3 times in 3 months. So there's kind of an ebb and flow to it. At the end of the day, it's very different, but it's all the same in the sense that what we're dealing with is the rules of procedure, the law, and rules of evidence. So a little bit of everything, I suppose.
Okay, thank you. Torren?
Yeah, so, obviously my case looks a little different in the sense that, a lot of stuff I do is now more transactional. But that being said, I still have some litigation that I'm handling, dealing with, I have a civil litigation court, or a case that's in York County. I still continue to do, family law and representing folks in divorce and custody, but also do a lot of the transactional real estate estates, that type of work. I have a background in bankruptcy, I have a background in construction litigation, all kinds of real civil litigation. I will say that I don't have a robust criminal background. I have practiced in some areas in the criminal law field, but that is an area that generally I've worked in firms that other folks have handled that, and it's no mistake that Paul and I work in the same firm, and there are folks within our firm, like Paul did, that handle those types of things. So, working together in those issues. In all reality, this is more than likely a family court judge position. It's not confirmed, but that's more than likely what this is going to be. And I have extensive experience in that realm.
Okay. We'll start with Torren on this one. How do you plan to cut through case backlogs without turning justice into a speed dating session?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And look, I mean, the case logs are basically